This is a video for Frank Greshan, Supreme Flooring and Cleaning, and this is your unit, the same 227 hours. It's got the 3120041. It's going to be winterized and sent to you on this pallet and shrink wrapped with cardboard to protect it. It's going to be winterized. Now, when you use this every day, at the end of the day, you have to have windshield wiper fluid be filled up in here, have it injected through your chemical line at the same time, and you'll see that there'll be, when it does fill up, there will be fluid right here. You'll see the blue windshield wiper fluid. It has to be drawn all the way out through your wand and through your pressure hoses so nothing freezes up. That will protect all your plumbing, your coils, and your heater. This has to be done every single day because it's really cold up where you are, and you don't want these coils to freeze up. And if they do, that heater is gone. So what we also have here, this is a lever that's used, which goes eventually to your tank. It's the thermal line. If you use pressures above 1,000, turn it off, because what will happen is it'll hurt the O-rings on your solenoid, which is on your tank. I just also wanted to point out that this is a filter here as well, a filter strainer that has to be cleaned out once in a while. We have a fuse here that runs your 12-volt panel going to your panel up here, the 12 volts. There's another 30 amp here that runs your solenoid, so if you can't start, chances are that could be blown out. These wires here is your white magneto wire, green low oil pressure. Then you've got your connection here that goes to your high limit shutdown, okay? And your high limit shutdown is right down at the bottom, 285. So if it gets too hot, it'll shut down your magneto on your engine and halt your engine. The other wire here is for your high limit on your waste tank. So this unit has brand new belts. I put brand new belts in here. Okay, everything is new on these belts. The thing is, you just make sure that you grease the fittings. You got an upper and lower. You got one up there and one up there. Make sure you can use regular lithium grease. And these little holes here will push grease out. That's perfectly normal. So, again, reviewing this thermal line, normally it should be open. When it's connected, the line is connected to the tank. It'll go directly to your solenoid. Here is your solenoid line. I call that A. And B is just your drain line for your primer on your chemical prime, as well as this line right here. They merge together. This is your relief valve coming out, but normally we try to keep it as tight as possible. Usually this can be implemented when you want higher pressure. It usually goes clockwise to increase the pressure rating, so you can get a higher pressure for your operating pressure of your machine. It's the brand new Aviator Throttle. Brand new, I just put it on. So we went from a T throttle to an aviation throttle. So there's an improvement there. And everything's in really good shape. It's been fully tested. These lines here, this goes to your shutoff. So the one with the wire nuts here goes to your shutoff. Non-polarity, doesn't matter. Goes right on the shutoff overfill of your waste tank. This here goes to the terminal block and supplies your voltage. Now this goes on the top and this goes on the bottom. This is your ground. Right here, black, and white is positive 12 volts. Okay? These two sets of wires go on your waste tank. So you'll have two steel braided hoses on the back, which are these right here, and they're both the same length, and they'll go right on the back, and respectively A and B, and I can put A and B on there on the tank as well as right here to show the relationship. Okay, now you got also power lines. These are your power lines to plug in to if you're using a demand pump or a pump out. You have lines right here separately fused to allow you to get 12 volts to a fresh water pump or a demand pump simultaneously. There's your screen for your chemical. This is your chemical tube. This is your fill, your empty out drain for your engine's oil. Everything is here. You've got a pump oil that goes in there, and you've got a level right here that shows the level of the oil. The cat pump oil is what we use. And also you fill halfway, so this is your fill using synthetic, required for Gardner, Denver. Fill it up until it starts to come out. Put a rag here and then take this off and fill it until it starts to pour out, and then put this cap back on. Usually they say about halfway. If it goes a little to the top, don't worry about it. Just as long as you got enough oil for this crankcase, this gearbox, I should call it gearbox, for your blower. So it's important that you got plenty of synthetic oil that is put in that for Gardner approved oil, synthetic oil. So everything is here. You got your battery cables, respectively positive, negative for your battery. This switch here is for your accessory, on and off for your accessory, and that accessory supplies 12 volts down here to your two plug-in lines, and that's your last step injection pump. And this is your, when it goes down, I believe it's the downward position, which you will start to see the marker go up once it's running. That will mean that it's priming. When you turn it the other way, it'll drop down a little bit. This is your metering for your gallon per hour, metering for your chemical, and that will depend on feel more than anything, the concentration of what you're using for soap. We have a drain here. This drain is for your water box, so that when at the end, I mean, you could suck the water out initially real quick with your vacuum hose if you don't want to wait it to drain. Now this you will drain because you want pure windshield wiper fluid going in there. So I did institute a drain, which is right down there, and it'll drain this water box out to allow you a pure concentration of windshield wiper fluid. I also added on brand new thermal tape for your headers to keep it nice and confined, the heat confined to the unit. And you got your pump here, and this is your fuel line. This can go to a push pump if you would like. If you're going to be using it for a subflooring into a hookup to your gas tank, you're going to want to have an additional pump. There is a pump on here, and it does work, but it does become compromised once it goes below a certain sub-level of your truck. Other than that, this is a good running unit. It's been fully tested. You know the pricing. I'm selling these for 20 grand all the time, so everything works good. The thermostat works great. There's a little marker right there. That red marker indicates where the temperature is. 50 is there. Then you got 200, 250. And the key is that when you go up, that light will go out. That red light will go out. That red light indicates basically when it's turned on. Usually it doesn't really matter except the fact that you will hear it click. When you connect your power lines to your solenoid of your waste tank, you'll hear this click. That will mean that you've sent 12 volts to it and you've turned it on to allow the water to come through. When you want to go and do 200 degrees, you put it right about there, and then it will cycle, and when it reaches approximately 200, this will send a 12 volt signal connection to your solenoid, and it will turn it on and allow the water to come into your waste tank. This is your oil cup, of course, chemical, Up, I believe, is, sometimes this thing gets turned upside down. Up, I think, is chemical and down is prime. It may be the other way. Sometimes, like I said, this gets turned around the wrong way. But either case, you'll know, because when you turn it, it'll start to peg right away. It'll start to be pumping through. And the only time that should go up is when it's in the primer. But when you turn it the other way, it will go back down again. This valve right here is allowing the flow of water to go into your waste tank. It should always, into your water box. When you crack it open, you just crack it open a little bit to allow a circulation of all this water to be coming in a circular mode, and allow the sender to react to your temperature gauge, to also allow your probe capillary to react to temperature changes, because you don't want stagnation. So that's the importance of this. Always make sure it's cracked open a little bit and allowing it to go back into your water box. And everything is pretty self-explanatory. Your oil dipstick and fill. Great unit. And I also put my phone number here for information purposes. Website. So this is going out maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, and the tank has to be cleaned up. But coming back over here to the tank, this is your thermal line. That's A. This is B. So A goes straight in into your solenoid. Okay, that's your thermal line. Facing the back of that truck mount, it's on the left, which is A. Here's your connections. Positive, positive, negative. So you got white, black. Okay, that's your line right there. So connect it right to these two screws. Black goes on the bottom, white goes on the top. That'll supply your voltage to your dumped solenoid. The rest of it's self-explanatory. There's just non-polarity, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to clean up this tank a little bit. It already has been cleaned up, but when I send it to you, I'm going to try to do the best to clean it up as much as I can. It is a used truck mount. So, at any rate, I'll be sending your bill of lading, and then it'll have tracking on it as well. And is also a combined safety manual with safety instructions on how to material handle and install and operate this machine. Thank you.